did.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know about that one. But when I was talking about there was a kid in Bowling Green that he was down to Kentucky and Tennessee, and he chose Tennessee.
Yeah, the DB, the corner.
I can't remember the kid's name, but that's
yeah.
What and then the other one yesterday was a kid from Birmingham. He's about 6'2" or so. I can't remember the kid's name, but I don't follow it. I don't follow it too close. I just know they got two running back commits. They got kids from Kentucky and this guy from Alabama. So as they need them because they're gonna lose a bunch this year. We've got three seniors and some other ones. So, but it's just time of year where different sports they're going to start committing before their season starts. They want to go ahead and get it out of the way so they can have their season, not just football but everything. But I like the period being in December. I know it's going to change though because I used to hate it when it was in February because these kids would commit right before Christmas and then every week they'd say, "Well, I'm going somewhere else, and you wait till February, they still don't know where they're going. So I mean, maybe they should have a limit on decommits. So two decommits a cycle. If you decommit more than 2 times, you got to go to the school you committed at. Pick a school for goodness sakes. Quit decommitting and committing and decommitting. Now make a decision. I wish it would stay in December and have one period, but they won't do it. So they're going to have 2. So I don't like the February period because 98% of the kids now commit in December. They don't do it in February. So but I don't know how y'all feel about that, but but it's just the time of year, I guess. We're getting close to high school football and all the other sports. I mean, I follow most of them. We had a kid down here that played softball that got a scholarship in Crew. Do y'all know what Crew is?
Yes.
Yeah, she visited Alabama and Ohio State and some other schools. And she's going to Indiana for Crew. And the reason why she got the scholarship is she worked out on the CrossFit machines. She's never put a oar in the water. And the coaches told me, he said that we don't care about that. We just want them athletic. So we'll give them the workout stuff when they get up here. We don't care nothing about that. So kind of it's kind of oxymoron. But no, guys, have a great 4th. I know it's getting close to media days time, and I know y'all going to talk about the conference expansion. I guess how many teams does Big Ten have now? 24. Since he had it 8 more over the weekend. So y'all hang in there, guys.
Nice.
See you.
Yeah, we know what Crew is. Huntsville actually has a very successful Rocket City Rowing Club. They actually row down on the Tennessee River right down there by Ditto Landing. There's a nice little spot, and there's several kids have gone on to sign college scholarships out of here from the Rocket City Rowing Club. So, yes, we are very familiar with Crew in this area. And Jeff mentioned a lot of kids committing in December. It's because that's that early signing period in December. That's why they're committing and signing so that they can get onto campus early for that second semester there, so to speak, early enrollees. All right, Richard's with us this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to bring it to the local community's attention that a softball 16 under softball girls team just went to Aurora, Colorado, 84 teams, and they brought home the victory.
Okay, what division? What league is that?
This is 16 and under girls.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Because it's is it what league do they play in? I mean, what?
It's
just a traveling tournament team.
Yeah, it's travel ball. Yep.
The name of the team is the Sparks Elite, and the team that they played in the finals was the Alabama Firecrackers. They're from the Birmingham area.
It was all Bama final.
It was all Bama final, about 84 teams.
Impressive.
Yes, no doubt.
Impressive. And I'll hang up and listen to the rest of the show, but if somebody will call me back later, I'll give you the coach's name and maybe want to get him on one morning.
It's impressive.
Just to both those squads.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah. That's a successful 4th of July weekend.
No doubt.
When you go on there.
The summer is the time for travel ball. I mean, I have a friend that, B. Rich, he calls in, he coaches the South Huntsville. And so this is the time of year for them through June and July playing tournaments. And so there's some outstanding travel ball in our state. And so congratulations to those 2 squads. It's pretty strong when you got 84 teams and it ends up being an all Bama final and those young ladies take home the win. So congratulations to them and I believe he said it was in Colorado. So that's definitely a national event that they took home. So congrats to those young ladies.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We want to hear from you on this Tuesday morning as we kind of get the show underway. And we did mention, Jeff talked a little bit of recruiting. Auburn did pick up I believe, a wide receiver out of Central Phoenix City as well.
Carmelo English, that's who I was talking about.
Yeah.
He chose Auburn over Kentucky, and he had pushed his announcement back a few days, but decided to go public yesterday. It's a big get for Auburn. They need help outside at the wide receiver spot. They'd spent a long time recruiting him. He plays, of course, for former Auburn quarterback Patrick Nix, and so they'd put a lot of time into that one, and it was expected. And then, like I said, Raquez McElderry, a kid that had been committed to Georgia for a long time, for almost a calendar year. He decommitted a few days ago publicly from Georgia, and the thought was immediately that Alabama would be at the forefront. And I had been told that even though there was nothing officially announced by McElderry, that there was a good chance he was going to go public on July 4th. He did do that, and so he was he went public, and so that's a big get for Alabama. They certainly would like to sign 5 or 6 offensive line prospects. They now have 2 with him and Wilkin Formby, who is from Northridge High School in Tuscaloosa. So 2 in-state kids for Alabama along the offensive line, and then a skill guy for Auburn. And then also Auburn picked up Jeremiah Cobb in the last few days as well. That was on the 1st. He's from Montgomery Catholic High School, a running back that they had spent a long time recruiting, that basically was near the top of their board. So Auburn got a couple of skill guys from within state, and Jeremiah Cobb and Carmelo English, and then Alabama getting the couple of big kids up front. As we said, Wilkin Formby and Raquez McElderry. And today on the 5th, the Malik Benson from Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. I don't know a time. I tried to look it up, but he is supposed to go public with his decision to commit, and he's the number 1 junior college prospect in the country. Had over 1,200 yards receiving there at Hutchinson in Kansas. And Tennessee's been involved. He's gone on. I think he is one of these young men that you just heard Jeff talking about it. I think he took all of his official visits in June, but Alabama has a lot of late momentum. They got one of the last visits for him, and I think Alabama is considered the favorite. You don't want to say anything's 100% in recruiting, at this day and time with NIL, but I think Alabama's considered the favorite for Malik Benson, and they might. There's a really good chance they get some good news later today from one of the top junior college players. Just like last week, Alabama got Justin Jefferson. We talked to Rodney Orr about that from Pearl River, who some think is the top junior college prospect defensively, or the top offensive prospect, and maybe the top one overall, Malik Benson, committing today, and Alabama thought to perhaps be the favorite there.
Tennessee picked up a 5-star athlete, Jonathan Eccles. He committed to Tennessee out of IMG Academy.
2024 kid, so he'll have to hold on to him for close to 2 years. But Jonathan Eccles from IMG, no doubt. I think he was the first 2024 commitment for Tennessee. I need to catch up with Ryan Callahan, talk about that. But he did commit yesterday. But they did get some bad news. Francis Maigoa, who some believe is the top offensive tackle in the country, from IMG Academy. We're going to talk to Andrew Ivins about that at the top of the second hour. But he commits to the Miami Hurricanes and Mario Cristobal. Mario had recruited this young man at Oregon, and I think was trying to sell him on the fact that they did develop Penei Sewell at left tackle into a first-round draft choice at Oregon. And so Francis Maigoa is going to follow in those footsteps and go to Miami. Miami's been very aggressive. I guess you could say they're this year's Texas ATM. in this cycle so far with John Ruiz, the booster. They've been very aggressive with their NIL program and gotten some outstanding players. I mean, we talked about it last week with the quarterback Jalen Rashada. He's a guy that's committed, just coming off the Elite 11, and you're only speculating because of what the reports you read, but supposedly chose Miami over Florida for a $9.5 million multi-year NIL deal. We don't know for a fact that's what it is. It's just being reported that way. But they got him committed, and so Miami's, and they got Riley Williams, the tight end out of Oregon. But of course, like once again, Mario Cristobal had kind of laid some of that groundwork. He and his staff, a lot of those guys went with him from Oregon to Miami, and they were able to get Riley Williams committed. So Mario's being very aggressive. They need to be because they've sucked for a long time. Let's just be blunt. Miami has not been relevant. They had that one good year under Mark Richt before Coach Richt's health issues and things of that nature had him resign. But even then, they didn't come close to making the playoff. They just contended in the ACC because it's pretty stunning when you think about Miami's tradition from the late 70s, early 80s through, maybe early 2000s. And really that's when it started to fall off after that 2002 year where Jim Tressel's uncle was refereeing in the end zone and threw the flag late and ended up giving the Suckeyes the national championship. But again, I'll just say this: Miami has not contended in the ACC very much, and
no,
you would
briefly under Mark Richt for his short
for 1 year
there,
but you would think. A matter of fact, I'm not even sure they've ever played in the ACC championship game. And if you had told somebody that when Miami went to the ACC officially, because remember, for much of their domination, when they were in a conference, when they went from independent to a league, they were in the Big East,
right?
And they dominated in the Big East, and they didn't have a championship game back then. Miami has not done much in the ACC football wise, and you would think they would have, but they haven't been able to gain
2017, they played in the ACC title game against Clemson in 2017.
So one time.
And they lost 38-3.
And they lost by 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So they played in it one time and they lost by 5 TDs. So they have not done a whole lot. And think about that, though, Scott.
I mean, think about this, though. Georgia Tech
has
played in the ACC title game more since 2005
than the Canes.
Against Miami. Georgia Tech has been in the ACC championship game 1, 2, 3, 4 times since 2005. Miami, which is supposed to be, and they consider themselves an upper echelon program in college football, has only played in the ACC title game 1 time. The same amount as Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's played in it twice. My bad. So,
yeah, and Pittsburgh's the reigning champion.
Duke has played in it only once.
Well, that in itself.
But I'm just saying that's
David Cutcliffe. That's
for Miami.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you look at Miami's history and the way they fancy themselves, they had about a 25-year run, and then it's fallen off the table. They haven't been very good for a long time. They've been mediocre, I guess. I mean, they haven't, I said sucked, but they've really just been mediocre. They have not been very good. And so, and you would have thought that, and I've said this repeatedly, and now Florida State's kind of fallen off the table. But, the thing is, what college football needs and what the ACC needs, and now especially with some of this movement, is they've got to stabilize themselves, see what schools they can keep, and then the biggest thing is they need Florida State and Miami to be in their league and then be good. Because I don't know, I'll be honest with you. Florida State and Miami are teetering right now. If they came to the SEC, they would get absolutely annihilated. It would be like a Shark Tank. They wouldn't be able to compete. Now, Mario seems to be getting their recruiting at Miami going in the right direction where they could be able to, but he's also had some issues coaching. If you've watched him manage games and things of that nature, the way he did at Oregon, and the Pac-12 ain't the SEC. So that would be really fascinating. And then I've repeatedly said this. my sticking point with Miami is Ruiz is over here buying every other player right now with their NIL, and that's what they're doing. They're just flat buying kids. Let's not mince words. They're buying players right now, and because it's not against Florida state law, and they haven't regulated NIL, so they're just it's unethical, but it's not illegal.
Right.
So they need talent badly, and Mario's being very aggressive and trying to make Miami relevant. He's getting paid $8 million a year at his alma mater, try to get them good. And again, my sticking point has always been they're not totally committed to athletics because they haven't even built a football stadium for a program that fancies themselves as one of the all-time greats, but they don't even have one.
Stadium,
yeah, that's what I mean. They don't have anything, which to me is ridiculous.
All right, let's get that first break in. When we come back, more Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck in the 4900 block of Moore's Mill. That's near Jordan Road. Motorcycle involved. They're reporting that one with injury. That's their only working accident. Everything else looks clear. You be careful on your trip in. No mask, no hose. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie. 2-2 on the way. Hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Welcome to Allstate, where saving on your auto insurance is kind of like a joyride. You, your car, and an open road. Maybe your best friend, too. The music is chill, and so is the traffic. You and your friend both look over at each other, and then he puts his head back out the window. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Allstate and affiliates offer products and services subject to availability, terms, and conditions.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
The defending world champs are answering the call. The Braves' run for a title heats up this summer, and we'll bring it to you live.
High fly, deep to left. Forget about it for Austin Riley. A blast to left.
Tonight, the huge National League matchup rolls on from Truist Park as Austin Riley and your Atlanta Braves square off against the St. Louis Cardinals. Braves radio's on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
When we say local, we mean local, not Birmingham.
User.
We are the only sports talk station in Huntsville. It's all right here. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You've got a magical glow.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you on a Tuesday morning. want to say Monday so bad, but yesterday did not feel like a Monday. Yesterday felt like a Sunday. Saturday felt, I don't know, just the whole we got to enjoy a 3-day weekend. It kind of threw me for a loop just a little bit. But there has been some fantastic camps going on for high school football, none bigger than the Elite 11 camp. Bryce Young stopped by the Elite 11 camp through for one of the workouts on an evening session. A lot of great high school kids showing off their talent as well at the Elite 11.
Yeah, they are. And our next guest was there in California covering the event. He does a great job as the director of recruiting for SI.com, Sports Illustrated, and has been around the recruiting industry really for over a decade and is, to me, still my favorite go-to guy when it comes to evaluation and getting a close look at these kids. He does a lot of work on the road and gets a lot of face time. And once again, did a great job covering the Elite 11, which wrapped up in the last few days. So, and then John Garcia will now give us some time this morning, and it was a big one for Miami. We already talked about Francis Maigoa committing to them from the offensive line, but they had 2 quarterbacks in the event as well, and we'll talk about that. And John Garcia will give us his thoughts on what he saw at the Elite 11 as it has wrapped up now for another year. And John's with us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. John, welcome back to Huntsville, Alabama, and Talkin' Ball. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. Doing well. Good to be on in the 256, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you're very familiar with this area, very familiar with the state of Alabama. You covered Alabama for many years in your previous stops. And of course, SI was there front and center. You guys named Dante Moore the Elite 11 Finals MVP. Just your initial thoughts on what you saw over the few days in California, seeing once again this has become a rite of passage a little bit. A lot of these guys go on to be superstars. I know Bryce Young was there as part of it again, but you see a lot of these young men go on win the Heisman, the number 1 draft choices. But the Elite 11, a huge event. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, it is kind of a rite of passage, right? And for us, it's kind of the last major quarterback event of the year. And this year is kind of the year of the quarterback in recruiting. So naturally, it was a very close competition. I think of all the outlets there were 3 or 4 different MVPs. So it really depended on your own criteria, if you will. So yeah, for us, it was Dante Moore. And to be clear, we weighed solely the camp. We didn't weigh anything else. Others weighed 2021 tape and different things like that.
Right.
But for us, it was Dante Moore on the top uncommitted quarterback in the country. He was our day 1 top performer. He tied for first during the pro day, which is kind of the script that we follow closest. I think that's the most important day of the competition. And then day 3, he was kind of middle of the pack, but he had built up a lead enough to hold off J.J. Cole, the Iowa State commitment, who was kind of the surprise of the entire event. And I think, Drew, that was reflective of how deep this quarterback class is. Everyone knows Arch Manning, Nico Iamaleava. Those 2 did not participate. So it really gave some room for some less heralded quarterbacks to truly make an impact. So J.J. Cole, the big Iowa State commitment, he's like 6'6", was really the surprise of the event. He finished second for us. And then third was Emory Williams. You mentioned Miami having 2 quarterback commitments there. Jaden Rashada, easily the most high profile of the 2 Hurricane Verbals, but it was Emory Williams who was the top performer between the 2, finishing third for us. So I think, again, it was another example of just how deep this quarterback class is in the class of 2023. There were 10 to 12 prospects that you really felt like had huge splashes during the event. And that includes Eli Holstein, of course, the Alabama verbal commitment. You're just stricken by his size, legitimately 6'4", 220 pounds or so. He's got a bit of an elongated motion compared to some of the more polished passers, but man, it does not hold him back from a velocity standpoint. And he's quite comfortable on the move, as you would imagine, with him being one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the class as well. So it was really kind of a loaded field. Auburn target Brock Glenn was really good as well. I think he finished 9th or 10th for us at SI. Just kind of consistent, really good short to intermediate, comfortable on the move, and never really had that bad day that really kind of knocks a quarterback off course. So it was a great all-around event, as always. Bryce Young did the pro day. C.J. Stroud was there. Devin Leary, Caleb Williams. It was really just kind of a showcase of the best at the high school and collegiate level simultaneously. And it's always cool to see that blend, especially having seen all those other guys who are in college now go there as high schoolers. It's really cool to see them give back as well.
Dante Moore, your guys' MVP, and you mentioned uncommitted. Who has the inside track for Dante Moore?
Well, the most recent buzz goes to the two programs he's visited most recently, the Oregon Ducks and the Texas A&M Aggies, both having been in the running for a lot of these other top quarterbacks and just having missed at different points. So naturally, when you're the last elite quarterback still on the board, there's going to be a lot of movement in your recruitment. I think this was a Notre Dame lean for most of the last year or so. Michigan has had up and down moments with him, as has LSU. But again, the most recent buzz certainly with Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks, as well as Jimbo Fisher and the Texas A&M Aggies. Although Dante once again last week confirmed that there is no timeline, there is no group of top schools, so he's totally wide open in his approach. Although he has been very busy on the visit front, having seen all the programs we just mentioned at least once or twice since the spring, evaluation period opened up. So he's well-traveled, and he's digging into this decision as kind of the last major quarterback recruit that's still available.
And the interesting part is he's from Detroit, Michigan King High School. He mentions Michigan in his top 5. He mentions Ohio State as well. But it's kind of fascinated me how Jim Harbaugh has not been able to – he did it with Andrew Luck at Stanford and developed some outstanding QBs there, but he has not been able to have that breakthrough at Michigan quarterback-wise.
That's a great point, and I think development is becoming the most critical factor for quarterback recruiting. You have to have a track record of bringing in quarterback talent, furthering it towards great collegiate success, and most importantly, perhaps, giving them high marks into the NFL draft process. And that is one area where we haven't seen Michigan thrive under Jim Harbaugh. I think they've probably got the breakthrough guy on campus right now in J.J. McCarthy, who was a number 2 or 3 finisher at the Elite 11 a couple years ago behind Caleb Williams. But he hasn't done so just yet at Michigan. And I think that is a huge reason why the Wolverines haven't had that 5-star All-American type quarterback jump into the program and then go through the development process outside of McCarthy. So that's a great point, and I do think that factors into maybe Michigan not being as high on the buzz list for a semi-local prospect in Dante Moore. Obviously they had staff turnover as well. Josh Gaddis went from Michigan to Miami after winning the Broyles Award for the top assistant in college football. So I think that, combined with the lack of development and that flirtation with the NFL, that you never know how consistent that will be, even though Harbaugh's saying all the right things now. I think all those things factored into not only Michigan not being higher on the list for Moore and other elite quarterbacks, but I think recruiting in general, they've been among the bigger disappointments to date in the class of 2023. All those things factor into me.
You mentioned Eli Holstein from Alabama there. Intimidating stature, big guy. A lot of Alabama fans are like, well, we didn't get Manning, we didn't get Arch Manning, and this is kind of like a consolation prize. But Eli Holstein is right up there. If Arch Manning was not in this class, we'd be talking about how good Holstein was. Probably one of the best recruits out there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of the bigger, more physical quarterbacks we've seen, and he's a really dynamic athlete. He set the all-time quarterback testing mark among Elite 11 competitors. And that doesn't maybe not sound like a big deal, but that's in their history of testing quarterbacks from a height, weight, speed, agility, and strength standpoint. So you throw in the Tim Tebow's, Lamar Jackson's, the Andrew Lucks of the world, and Eli Holstein cumulatively has out-tested them by Elite 11 standards. So I think athletically he provides something that certainly Arch Manning doesn't on the hoof. And then you compare them further, both from Louisiana, by the way. You compare them further, Holstein's the one who won the state championship last year Holstein had the better year numbers-wise while playing a higher level of competition as well. So, yeah, I think, apples to apples, you could really make the case that in the last 12 months, Eli Holstein has had a better run than Arch Manning. But Arch Manning is a, 4-year starter and has more experience to his name, not to mention that last name on top of it, which certainly factors into the human and subjective business of college football recruiting rankings. So, yeah, I think 1-to-1, this is a really interesting comparison, and I think we'll probably link these to the rest of the way, college and maybe beyond. But it's also, again, another indication of just how deep this year is at quarterback. It's one of those banner years that we will start, in my mind, comparing to maybe 2017, which is the Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields year, where it just seemed like there were a lot of big-time college and eventually NFL quarterbacks in one recruiting cycle. This class of 2023 feels that way, and Holstein is absolutely one of those top 5 or 10 guys that we need to be talking about more.
Yeah, and we're talking to John Garcia, Director of Recruiting, Sports Illustrated. Holstein probably is going to need maybe a redshirt year to develop. He's big and strong. I know he's going to need a little bit of work mechanically and then on his accuracy, but he has all the tools. He has mobility, and I think he understands that. I think he knows he's going to be able to compete, but again, he may have to be a little patient there. But I wanted you to talk about the kid that I know Dante Moore was you guys' MVP, but the guy over the 3 days that I was hearing a ton about was J.J. Cole. I wasn't really that familiar with him. I know he's a 4-star young man committed to Matt Campbell and Iowa State. But as you kind of alluded to earlier in the conversation, John, he's an interesting prospect because he's got such great size, 6'6". Talk about this young guy who basically spent much of the 3 days near the top of the list with these 20 quarterbacks who competed in the event in L.A.
Yeah, I think JJ, put his name on the map and certainly represented Iowa State well, to the point where I'm wondering if he's getting a couple phone calls from some schools still looking for a top quarterback commitment. He'll be a tough flip, though. He's an in-state kid. His dad is Jamie Cole, the kicking guru, who also went to Iowa State. So I do think that'll be a tough flip attempt, but you certainly understand if folks reach out. But yeah, he was obviously 6'6", 220 pounds. You see him and you're like, my goodness, that's a massive quarterback. But the athleticism, the consistency really showed up. He really set the world on fire during that pro day. We do a simple 3-2-1 throw measuring system at SI, where basically every throw is charted and graded in that scale, 3 being perfect, 2 being on target but not ideal, and 1 being off the mark. And JJ did as well as Dante. I mean, there was a run there from a just emotional standpoint where you just felt like JJ maybe had the best day, and he certainly had the best throw of the day. It was an on-the-run throw on 7-cut, which is a flag route about 50 yards down the field, and he hit it against the front pylon about as well as any quarterback at any level could, to the point where the staff, the other quarterbacks, the media, the fans, the parents, everybody kind of gasped all at one moment. And I think him doing that on the move at 6'6" with a huge arm was just kind of that showcase, almost a Josh Allen type of play, where everybody collectively recognized, oh my goodness, this is an elite quarterback recruit, and he showed it off on a very big stage on that day. So yeah, JJ Cole absolutely belongs in that conversation. He's backed it up at the high school level as well, with great production as a passer and a runner, and a great TD interception ratio on top of that. I think he threw only 4 interceptions as a junior in 2021. So yeah, it's a loaded year of quarterback, and that often comes with emergers and kind of surprises. And there was no doubt that JJ Cole was that at the elite level.
We talk about how good of a job Sam Pittman has done at Arkansas, getting the Razorbacks turning around, and he's also done a great job of recruiting, also pulling out an Elite 11 quarterback in Malachi Singleton.
Yeah, Malachi was our top performer at the Elite 11 Nashville Regional, which included many finalists. Nico Iamaleava, Brock Glenn, Avery Johnson were among the finalists from that Elite Regional, and he was our top performer that day. We thought he was so precise, so comfortable on the move. The footwork in the pocket was just kind of crisp. And I think, he did the same thing out in Los Angeles. The difference is that he's not the flashy guy. He's just kind of consistent. He's just ever present, if you will. And Malachi, who's a great runner, for those who don't know, definitely fits kind of that KJ Jefferson mold of what Sam Pittman wants at the quarterback position. But he absolutely could contend with some of these top quarterbacks from an overall body of work and consistency standpoint. He's not, 6'5" with a rocket arm and a fluid delivery. He's more compact, 6'1", 6'2", built for a dual threat SEC nature of football that he's going to play. But man, he's just consistent at that intermediate level with an accuracy standpoint. His motion is relatively quick, as is his release. And he's just kind of steady. There's no, A+ wow, can you rewind this tape moment? But there's also no floor of a huge run of negativity or anything like that. So I do think that he is a great quarterback recruit for the Razorbacks to bring in. And we're hearing that he may be getting some phone calls from other programs as well. So when you have this much depth at the game's most important position, there's going to be a lot of intrigue even beyond maybe that verbal commitment date. So some of these quarterbacks we're talking about as commitments to one program are maybe going to end up somewhere else down the line. Not saying Singleton will, but some of these guys who really put on a show are going to get a little bit more interest here during this July dead period where there's a lot of time and moments for other programs to make room to try to prepare for visits in the fall.
And I wanted to get one more thought from you for the Auburn fans, because they're looking for their quarterback in this class. You mentioned the guy that they've targeted is at the top of their board, and I know he was part of this event. He's from Memphis, Tennessee, Brock Glenn. Actually, his name is Auburn. We've even talked with Keith Niebuhr about that, who's been tracking this recruitment. But you mentioned schools getting in late and it's not really late. It's still early. It's July. But this young man, Ohio State, LSU, but Auburn was thought to be the leader. Where do things stand with Brock Glenn, and what were your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I thought Brock looked really good. Just, again, really consistent. I love his build and kind of his makeup, legitimately 6'2" or so, right over that 200-pound mark. So he's a well-built quarterback prospect that you could see filling out even more at the next level. And he's got a strong arm and some mobility to go along with it. And, yeah, his recruitment is kind of stressful at the moment. He admits that he wanted to be done before the Elite 11, and that, I think, would have been best news for Auburn. But in the last few weeks before the competition kicked off, Ohio State offered and hosted him for an official visit. LSU came in with a scholarship offer, and then he also visited Auburn, Florida State, TCU, Mississippi State. So a lot of different options, different schemes, and coaches to potentially lock in with. And I think that's what kind of overwhelmed him leading into the competition itself. And coming out of it, Brock is still trying to do something sooner rather than later, but he does seem like he's going to slow it down, at least internally, and start to narrow this list from about 5 schools down to 2 or 3. Now, I do think Auburn stays in the hunt even as he narrows this list. But obviously, when Ohio State is after you at the quarterback position, it's something you have to vet. And I think LSU's late offer is something that has intrigued him enough to start slowing the process down and trying to build a late relationship with Brian Kelly's program. He said he's going to be on a lot of Zooms in the next few weeks trying to get in with LSU because he did take all those other visits and most likely won't be able to get down to Baton Rouge before a decision is to be made. So to me, Brock is really trying to consider all 5 of these schools, but LSU is being measured without a visit. So I think that'll be tough for the Tigers to overcome. But Auburn is certainly the program he's most familiar with among these 5 finalists. And I think Ohio State and keep an eye on Florida State is a bit of a dark horse in that race as well. It seems like there's still some time now between Glenn narrowing his list and actually going public with a decision. But from the Auburn perspective, I think you're still very much in the thick of it, and it's still sooner rather than later. If you're a Tigers fan, you want him to kind of wake up one day and say, you know what, I know where I'm going. And I think that'd probably be good news for AU, again, where he's most familiar with Brian Harsin and that coaching staff. But again, these late offers and interest certainly have his attention enough for him not to be quite done just yet.
No question. Coming off a 3-day trip to Los Angeles, Director of Recruiting for Sports Illustrated. John Garcia has joined us this morning on Talkin' Ball on this Tuesday. John, we really appreciate the time, and let everybody know how to connect with you guys over at Sports Illustrated to follow your continued coverage, even during this dead period, because a lot of commitments taking place.
Yeah, July 4th weekend certainly always, it's kind of becoming a very trendy commitment weekend. So we'll look back at some of the biggest pickups later today on Sports Illustrated. And yeah, we'll have more from the Elite 11, some superlatives, and certainly a look at how the counselors like Bryce Young did after getting some of their throws on tape. So yeah, check us out, si.com/college.
Thank you, John. We appreciate it.
Take care, fellas.
Let's get that break in. When we come back, hour one of Talking Ball, we're going to wrap it up.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And one wreck in the 4900 block of Moore's Mill near Jordan Road. Had a motorcycle involved in that one with an injury reported. Got a wreck on 67 in Morgan County in Decatur. It's near Central Parkway. That one may have an injury involved. Everything else looking good. No other problems to report. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Cajun Rice is back at Popeyes, and their 11-piece chicken family meal with 2 sides and 5 biscuits is now only $22.99. Popeyes University and Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
In 1982, Bob Baumhauer introduced Alabama to the Buffalo Wild Wing, and quite frankly, we've never been the same. Back then, it was Wings and Things in Tuscaloosa, but now, 40 years later, after 4 name changes, Baumhauer's Victory Grill is the #1 sports-themed restaurant in the state. Bob's Alabama Hot Chicken is something that has to be tried to believe, plus the new Bam Bam Chicken and the Louisiana-style Go Fish, a whitefish over rice topped with shrimp etouffee. And Baumhauer's is fighting inflation with some new affordable favorites. Visit Baumhauer's on the South Parkway today.
Flow Trampoline Park is Huntsville's newest destination for family fun. There's an inflatable park for the little ones, air track basketball courts for the sports people, and a variety of other aerial sports attractions. Plus, plenty of couches and TVs for the spectators. Book your next party or outing at Flow Trampoline Park. Refuel at our caf, or tap into your inner child with an arcade and 3 console gaming rooms. Flow is at South Parkway and Drake, behind the Cracker Barrel. Learn more at flowhuntsville.com. That's flowhuntsville.com. Get your jump on at Flow Trampoline Park.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Yeah, we were really late this morning. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. That's all right. Welcome back. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Short time to get in on the show if you want for hour one. We still had a whole hour and 10 minutes left of the show, but still, if you want to get in. Hey, how about this? How about the USFL, Drew? It's done. It made it through a whole first season. Birmingham Stallions bring home the USFL title.
Yeah, I know some people are going to run into a ditch when I say this, but I actually watched some of it. It was the only USFL stuff I watched live all year, but I did watch, I guess it was 3/4 of it.
They played it in Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, I didn't figure it out. I didn't figure that out until like the second half. It didn't connect with me until they kept mentioning the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then I was like, now where? And I was like, oh, okay, they're playing where they play they play the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio.
It's basically their municipal football stadium in Canton, Ohio.
Exactly. But they always play that exhibition game there. And because of the World Games that are in Birmingham, they couldn't play it. Now everything else was played in Birmingham, I believe, including the round of the playoffs the week before. And actually, I thought it worked out. I mean, I thought the crowd was pretty decent. They might think about doing that long term, but again, like I said, it's going to be a battle of the attrition because either the USFL or the XFL will survive, not both of them. My money would still be on the USFL because of the money that Fox has put into them, and they did get through the first season. Again, congrats to Skip Holtz and Bo Scarborough and
Scarborough, 135 yards, a touchdown on 13 carries in that championship game.
He had a long 70-yard run. He had another around a 40-yard touchdown run to get them going. So they were able to hold on 33. It was a really good football game, 33-30. Birmingham's best defensive player is a guy that a lot of college football fans would remember, Scooby Wright, who was a dominant pass rusher at Arizona. And he had the pick six that basically sealed it and made it 33-23. There was a late touchdown by KJ Costello, of all people, who was the Stanford QB that went on to Mississippi State that basically ended the career of Bo Pelini with 630 passing yards in the opening game when Ed Ogeron, you truly realized how clueless he was and wasn't going to be able to keep that LSU program, relevant after their national championship in the COVID year. But certainly KJ Costello threw a late touchdown pass to keep it close, and it was a great effort by the Philadelphia Stars. But the Birmingham Stallions, who were really the best team in the league the whole year, they go 11-1 and win the inaugural of the restart of the USFL. So congratulations to the state of Alabama and to Birmingham, and it was a good football game. I thought it was interesting the rule that they have that they always, when they start these leagues, they always do something different to try to experiment with the rules. But it was interesting because after that touchdown to make it 33-30, they have a rule on you can have 1 4th down play to try to keep the football, and you have to start off deep in your of course your own territory around the 25 to 30 yard line, and it's a 1 4th down. So I think it's like a 4th and 12, and you have to convert to keep the football. And Birmingham got the stop, and then was able to basically run the clock out, even though they had to punt. But by the time they punted, there was just a few seconds left on the clock. They get a late interception, and they win the game. And so, again, I actually did watch some of the USFL, so hell didn't freeze over.
Just a short time left, Chad. How much time do we got left? Brandon, we'll have to get to you after our next guest off the top of the caller. Sorry, we were going to try getting you in there. Anyway, let's get this break in. When we come back, Andrew Ivins going to kick off hour number 2. We talk more college football recruiting and what's going on in Coral Gables.
Wendy's new Strawberry Frosty is here, so check your watch. Is it Frosty time yet? It probably is. The hour hand would be on, I'm feeling snacky. And the minute hand would be on, relaxing with a rich, creamy Strawberry Frosty on a summer day, just digging into that smooth, chilly deliciousness and vibing. You know, depending on what kind of watch you have. When it's time for Frosty time, choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Frosty and Classic Chocolate or New Strawberry.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid-90s. An isolated to widely scattered shower or thunderstorm is possible through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. Don't worry about it, though. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. Temperatures only drop into the mid-70s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky once again for your Wednesday afternoon. It is literally going to be a rinse and repeat process this week. Temperatures climbing into the mid-90s. Scattered showers possible across the Tennessee Valley, but most of us end up staying dry. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck coming in from Limestone County, 31 in the Tanner area. Got a motorcycle involved with some injury. One in Decatur, Point Mallard near Central Parkway. Got one southbound on the Parkway between Governors and Bob Wallace. No report of injury there. Moore's Mill near Jordan Road had a motorcycle involved. That one reported injury. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
As of July 4th, 2022 World Series odds still have the Dodgers at the top, along with the Yankees at plus 400, the Houston Astros at plus 600, the Mets plus 700, and the Blue Jays and Braves each at plus 1,200. Rory McIlroy favored to win another major at plus 900 to take the Open Championship, getting underway a week from Thursday. Jon Rahm, Justin Thomas, and Scotty Scheffler each at plus 1,200, and Cameron Smith and Colin Morikawa each at plus 1,600. The Braves hosting the Cardinals tonight. Atlanta a minus 145 moneyline favorite. St. Louis plus 125. 9.5 the set total. The Braves won Monday 6-3 in a weather-delayed Game 1.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Who wants coffee? Anybody wants coffee?
Can you get me off the hook? Roll type The tire's tired.
Tom Abraham, weekdays from 10 till noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All lines are open. Feel free to jump in 256-576-4977.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome back. Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Happy Tuesday morning. Safe travels back to work. Hope everyone had a chance to enjoy that beautiful 3-day weekend. If not, hope everyone had a chance to at least enjoy some downtime yesterday on the 4th. And we talked a little bit about what was going on in Miami. We knew when Mario Cristobal took over.
Needs a recruiter.
We knew that coming in because he did a fantastic job at Oregon.
And before that at Alabama, recruiting for Coach Saban, yep.
Yeah, when he got that head job there at Oregon, he was elevating the Ducks program a little bit there and getting them back to where they were a little bit under Chip Kelly. When he took over Miami, it was like, okay, we know he was going to make a splash. But did we think it would be this big, this fast?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, look at what he did at Oregon, getting the Sewell brothers, recruiting a few 5-star prospects to there. There's no doubt that. And when he was at Alabama for Coach Saban, he did an outstanding job of recruiting. He's always been an outstanding recruiter. There's no question about it. I'm not surprised that he's recruiting well. And then when you factor in NIL and John Ruiz, the booster, who's been very aggressive. He was aggressive in basketball, in the transfer portal. And then also he's been aggressive in football as well. And I mean, again, it's not illegal right now. They have not regulated NIL, so Miami's being very aggressive. Mario has always been a good recruiter, though. There is no question about that. If you followed his career, I mean, this is a dude that got FIU. He started that program. He got T.Y. Hilton to go there, and then he was able to get them to a bowl game. He never should have been fired in the first place. He's probably the perfect fit for Miami. And you always talk about fit,
right?
Because he knows the Sunshine State and just the South Florida, which has been so talent-laden in recruiting, and yet because of Miami's instability, they haven't been able to keep guys home, but he's starting to do that already. If you look at the 12 commitments that he has, and right now in the 24/7 Sports Composite, they're number 9 overall. But our great friend who covers that area so well, he's a recruiting analyst for 24/7 Sports. He's been with us on multiple occasions, and he's been able to join us this morning to talk about some of the waves Mario Cristobal is making, and that's Andrew Ivins, and he's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Andrew, welcome back to Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Hey, how are we doing, guys? Hope you had a good fourth.
I hope you did too as well, and certainly it was a busy one for you. And literally and figuratively, a huge addition for Mario Cristobal, winning out, as you pointed out, a kid that most of the time the top prospect at IMG Academy is going to the SEC. Alabama's had a pipeline there for a while, but Mario Cristobal and the Canes went out yesterday.
Yeah, they get Francis Mauigoa, our number 1 ranked offensive tackle in the country right now. We'll see if he finishes there, but he's every bit of a blue chip elite talent and a guy that really everyone in the country, all 50 states wanted. I mean, Hawaii was in his final 6, and he's the kid that's from out in the Pacific and the islands. And, Mario, he had worked this one since his days at Oregon, but I think this is just a huge statement for him. Obviously we're in this NIL era and all that stuff, but you still got to work. You still got to develop the relationships. And, Miami wasn't really considered much of a front runner until that 11th hour. They, sneak in there and pick up the commitment. Now they're up to number 9 in the rankings, and, they're not done on the recruiting trail in any way.
Mario Cristobal, I mean, what has he been able to do? I mean, obviously he's selling a program that is on the uprise, but how has Mario Cristobal just been able to convince people to come to Miami?
I think it's two things. I think his coaching staff, when you look across the board, it's a veteran coaching staff. You got Kevin Steele as your defensive coordinator. Yeah. Jamil Adai is the corners coach or safeties coach. He was the 24/7 Sports number 2 ranked recruiter in that 2022 cycle coming over from Georgia. Then you got Josh Gaddis, who won the Broyles Award. Frank Ponce, the quarterback coach, comes over from Appalachian State, and then he's still got his troops, Alex Mirabal. So he's got a really all-star staff, and I think the biggest difference is he's working, and we kind of describe him as a maniac of sorts, a guy that is always in the office. He's always pushing his coaches, and I think what was notable about this week of commitments for Miami is, in years past, they never really put the pressure on guys. Mark Richt and Manny Diaz, they never twisted kids' arms and tried to get them committed. And it seems like Miami did that now. Hey, you're either in now or we're not going to have a spot for you. So they're being super aggressive on the recruiting trail. NIL is obviously a factor, but he's selling his vision. He's telling kids, hey, I was at Miami when they won national titles, and I'm going to do whatever it takes until I can get them back there, even if that means not sleeping.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that. I think that's what set Mario apart is his aggression. I thought that's what he did when he was at Alabama. I thought he was probably one of the top 2 to 3 recruiters that Saban ever had on his staff. So it doesn't surprise me the level of aggression that he's had. He got Justin Flo to Oregon. He got the Sewell brothers. And I really didn't see it played up in people that were writing about Francis Mauigoa, but I thought his development of Penei Sewell, first of all, winning that recruiting battle and then developing that young man into a top 5 draft pick, even though he didn't play the COVID year, I thought was probably another reason they were able to get in there late and get the commitment yesterday.
Well, you're right, and Francis told me a couple of years ago that he has some ties to Penei Sewell, and I don't know if they're related. Maybe they're in the same kind of town. Maui was originally from American Samoa, so you're right with the familiarity there. I think bigger than that, though, is kids know that Mario Cristobal wants to win in the trenches. They know they're going to be
offensive line guy. Yep.
Yeah, up front, and you're hearing other like big time running back recruits bring that up. Quarterbacks run that up. So I think that's played as just as big of a factor. Miami might not have 2 full-time offensive line coaches, but they really do in Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal. You watch them practice, that's where Mario Cristobal spends most of his time with that offensive line group.
Mm-hmm. No question about that. And then he has now 2 quarterback commits. Is this a situation, do you think he can keep them both committed? I know Emory Williams is a guy that wasn't as high as ranked. He was a 3-star guy, but he performed really well. We just talked to John Garcia, who was there in Los Angeles. He kind of surprised a little bit and actually was rated ahead of Jaden Rashada. But again, I don't get so fired up, and I fell for this years ago. I mean, the Elite 11 still means a lot, but it doesn't mean you're going to be a great player. But still, to have 2 of the top 20 guys committed, or top 22 if you want to say it, because of course the wrist injury for Arch Manning kept him out. Nico Iamaleava not there, but again, 2 quarterbacks committed in this class for Mario already.
And I think with Emory Williams, I'm a guy who wants to see a little bit more of him on Friday night.
Gotcha.
His size and frame's impressive, but I think it just them taking 2 quarterbacks speaks to how Mario is trying to rework that room. I mean, a couple of years ago, aside from the offensive line play, the real Achilles heel for the Hurricanes was that quarterback position. I mean, they brought Tate Martell in, who could barely throw a football, and he was supposed to be the savior in 2019. Now they get Jaden Rashada, who's a blue chip guy, with Emory Williams, who's a bit of a project. You stack that after getting Ja'Carri Brown the year before, another 4-star kid, and the year before that it was Jake Garcia. So you would think the future of this room is headed in the right direction. We'll see if they can keep 2 committed, but you mentioned Mario being at Alabama. I'm pretty sure he was there when both Tua and Mac Jones was there.
Right.
So he's seen that little shuffling of it. It's going to be difficult to do, and Florida State needs a quarterback, or looks like they're trying to take a second. Florida needs a quarterback. So we'll see what happens with Emory Williams. But based on what he did out at the Elite 11, you got to like Miami's evaluation and sticking to their guns there.
Mm-hmm. Has all this excitement on the recruiting trail kind of translated to excitement with the fan base?
I think the fans are as fired up as they've ever been. We'll see if that transitions into ticket sales and whatnot, but there's definitely some buzz. Miami held their Legends Camp, which used to be Paradise Camp, 2 weeks ago before the dead period ended. I thought the involvement of former players was kind of at an all-time high. Maybe not some of the big stars, but it seems like a lot of people are excited about Mario Cristobal. I'm just interested to see, kind of the feeler for me will be week 3 when they travel to Texas A&M. How many times have we seen Miami be in these spotlight big games against, real contenders and then not show up? So, I think we're going to know a lot about the Mario Cristobal regime right then. I'm not saying they got to win that game, but are they going to be able to hang into it? I think Vegas right now has the Aggies as an 8-point favorite. So I fully anticipate tons of excitement until we get to then. And then, which direction and fork of the road do we go for Miami? Is it going to be, hey, the U's back, or is this still a bit of a rebuild?
Well, I can tell you this, Andrew Ivins. I'm going to be the biggest Miami Hurricane fan in the United States of America in that week 3 because I hate, and I'm just going to tell you, I hate Jimbo Fisher. Okay. I've nicknamed him Dirt Neck on this show. Scott can tell you, I've already been talking about this because he brought up the Miami game, and I was like, hopefully Mario will have his first watershed moment and give Dirt Neck another loss in a big game and send them on a spiral to a 4 or 5 loss season and get that win. I think it'd be huge. It'd be huge for their program. no doubt about it. As you said, they should be 2-0 going into that game, no doubt about it. So it's going to be a huge measuring stick for Mario Cristobal. And the recruiting so far has been outstanding. It looks like he's got a good coaching staff there. But as you said, we were just going over this before you came on the show in hour one. I'm still kind of stunned because really, to me, after that 0-2 national championship that was kind of taken from them where they would have repeated, they really have fallen off. And since they joined the ACC, and I think Scott said it was 05, I had forgotten that they actually played for it one time, I believe under Coach Richt, and lost decisively in the ACC title game. But it's stunning to me that they've only played in the ACC title game once.
It is. I mean, I cover the recruiting down here in South Florida, and it's just kids going to Pittsburgh and Wake Forest, and you kind of scratch your head a little bit, and you're like, wait, no, both these teams played for an ACC title last year. In Miami didn't.
Crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, I really, really like Tyler Van Dyke, their quarterback. I've always kind of been a Tyler Van Dyke guy. But I still think there's some question marks around him as they enter the season. He kind of got hot and streaky. What happens when there's some adversity, potentially week 3 in College Station? So I still think, while there's pieces of Miami's roster we like, there's still a lot of question marks. But you would have to think Mario's staff, from what he has assembled, this has got to be one of the better staffs since maybe Miami made that ACC title game under Mark Richt. I mean, he's got good coaches that want to work with them, and I think that's the biggest thing. So, that's the one thing on field preparation. And let's not forget, Mario last year at Oregon went to Ohio State early on in the season and upset the Buckeyes. I don't think anyone gave him a chance in that game.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
How does the Coastal stand? How does the Coastal look this season for Miami? How tough does that division play out?
I mean, we still got divisions. They're going to get rid of those here.
Right. You got one more year, right?
Yeah. Then they're going to go to that 3-3-5 situation. I think the big obstacles for Miami it's going to be those sneaky games. At Virginia Tech, at Virginia, Pittsburgh at home, North Carolina. They get North Carolina after a bye week. I'm kind of interested to see what happens under quarterback for the Tar Heels. What direction do they go there? Drake May, Jacoby Criswell. I think the big storyline with the ACC this year is just kind of how good that quarterback play is. There are a lot of talented arms, even with Kenny Pickett going pro at Pittsburgh. I mean, there's some quarterbacks. So, Miami's defense is going to have to come together under the direction of Kevin Steele. They brought in a ton of transfers. I think front seven, a big question mark. So, I think Miami should absolutely challenge for 9 and 10 wins. But if they want to get into that college football playoff conversation or that, top 10 of the rankings, it's really going to come down to week 3 at Texas A&M.
Well, and I thought that was a good hire. He got Kevin Steele. Steele had been maybe at Maryland for a week or two. He was able to get him a guy that's a veteran defensive coordinator that's done it in the SEC. Certainly should be, an upgrade for Miami at the DC spot, no doubt about it. And as you said, Andrew, it's going to be interesting to see the impact that Mario has in year one. But is there any buzz? I know the USC-UCLA thing came out of nowhere. They go to the Big Ten. Scott and I have already been spitballing about this, but is there any buzz that Miami, Florida State, I know you cover recruiting down there in South Florida, do you think these schools stay in the ACC, or do you think long-term we could see movement with Miami and Florida State, perhaps to the SEC?
Well, I mean, anything would just be speculation from my end, but I think if there's a conference where it looks like Miami should move to, I mean, why not the Big Ten? The Big Ten
interesting.
focuses so much. Yeah, I mean, so much on the academics. I think Miami's got the med school. I think that might be personally more of a little fit than the SEC, having been to a bunch of SEC campuses over the years. I think that. I think we're trending towards some mega conferences, and I think Miami's going to be an attractive option here in this big market. The John Ruiz, the big booster with the NIL stuff, he's also trying to build an on-campus stadium.
Yeah,
and that's
been my question. When were they going to do that? Yeah.
Well, I think they want to do it as soon as they can, but the big issue there is parking, traffic situation. So, I think it's still probably maybe more of a pipe dream than a reality right now. But I could definitely absolutely think Miami, if they were to bounce, me, the Big Ten would make more sense than the SEC. But that's just one man's opinion.
Very interesting. And then of this recruiting class, these 12 kids committed now, the number 9 class in the 24/7 Sports Composite. We talked about the 2 quarterbacks. We talked about Magoa. Who's another kid in this class? Obviously, Riley Williams was a huge get for him, too. And that, again, it's what you mentioned earlier about a previous relationship with a young guy in the state of Oregon that he had recruited when he was with the Ducks.
Yeah, Riley's the 3rd tight end that they've got committed. Miami loves to pound their chest that they're tight end and
right.
They got some guys playing for Sundays right now, but the well's been a little dry as of late. So they think either this Riley Williams guy or Jackson Carver, who's a prep kid up in Connecticut. They think they're getting 2 steals and 2 dudes there. We'll see. The one guy I get excited about if I'm Miami is Nathaniel Joseph, who's a little slot playmaking wide receiver from right down the road. And this kid was committed to Clemson. Miami's never really gone head-to-head with Clemson since Dabo's got there and won out for a kid. And they essentially get Nathaniel Joseph to decommit and then 2 weeks later commit to Miami. So I call that a flip. So they haven't never flipped anyone from the Tigers. And they go and get this Nathaniel Joseph kid, a kid who the previous offensive staff, Brett Lashley, all those guys at Miami, they thought he was too small. Well, Mario and those guys, they think he's big enough. And he's just a game-changing kind of slot kid. I always say he can take a 5-yard gain and turn it into a 35-yard gain. So I think they're going to try to scheme some stuff up for him eventually. I think he's going to be able to impact the return game. But that's one guy I'm definitely excited about, just having seen him play a bunch of football over the years.
No doubt. I'm not surprised by that. I think Mario, he's always been a guy that I don't think that he just looks to see what kind of football player you are. He doesn't really care about the ratings. He doesn't recruit like that. I think he recruits with his eyes. I think he's a really good evaluator too. I've always thought he was one of the best recruiters in the country, no doubt about it. But and then I guess the last question for you is what's next for Miami? Who's maybe up that this month of July is already off to an unbelievable start for them and for others around the country, but is there somebody you're tracking right now from your area or maybe that you're tracking for Miami that could commit to the Canes soon?
Well, they're in it for Jaden Wayne, who's going to announce the decision here in 4 days. Blue chip pass rusher. He's out in Washington. It's crazy because all these kids are transferring into IMG Academy. They have absolutely loaded up, and I know for your listeners, IMG plays, I think, Phoenix Central this season, but they have essentially drafted up and down the board, and Jaden Wayne is one of these kids coming to Bradenton to play at IMG Academy. All my colleagues, Steve Wiltfong, Brandon Huffman, their crystal balls on Miami, and that'd be a big get. I think it's a bit of a down year for pass rushers in the state of Florida. And that's the one thing under Mario so far. We have seen he is not afraid to recruit nationally. I think Miami has realized back when they're dancing all over TV and all that stuff. A lot of the kids weren't from the state of Miami. Yeah, you want to keep that backyard, but you still got to go get some dudes from out of the state. And Jaden Wayne is one of those guys. He's also got Georgia, LSU, Oregon in his top group, but it sounds like Miami's looking good there. And then another local receiver, Jaylen Brown. He's one of the fastest kids in the country, one of the fastest kids in the class of 2023. He's taking visits to Michigan and LSU, but I mentioned Miami kind of squeezing kids. Hey, are you in? Are you out? I think we could see that situation with Jaylen Brown, and he'd be a big addition for them. He would just give them a vertical threat.
Well, great stuff from Andrew Ivins. Andrew, man, I know you're a busy guy. We always appreciate your time and your insight into the Canes and South Florida recruiting. Let everybody know how to follow you and your coverage for 24/7 Sports.
I appreciate it, guys. You guys can follow me, Andrew_Ivins. All the work's on 24/7 Sports. You guys have a good, short work week.
Absolutely. You too, man. Stay safe. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Andrew Ivins giving us some good stuff there.
Tomorrow we're at halfway point. We're at the halfway point of the work week. So
okay, we do. So Brandon did hold through. We'll get a break and get him on.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, more Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sounds like the injuries are not that serious in a wreck on 31 near Calhoun College. That one was in the Tanner area with a motorcycle involved. Point Mallard and Central Parkway trying to clear. Southbound on the Parkway between Governors and Bob Wallace, no injury reported. Had another motorcycle-involved wreck on Moores Mill near Jordan Road. Had one person go to the hospital there. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The defending world champs are answering the call. The Braves' run for a title heats up this summer, and we'll bring it to you live.
High fly, deep to left. Forget about it for Austin Riley. A blast to left.
Tonight, the huge National League matchup rolls on from Truist Park as Austin Riley and your Atlanta Braves square off against the St. Louis Cardinals. Braves radio's on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3, 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
This time of year, it's hot. But with Brooks & Collier, you could be outside and comfortable. That's why Brooks & Collier has deep discounts on a large selection of patio umbrellas, furniture, and grills. With these patio umbrellas, you're sure to have a nice, shaded spot to relax. Lucy knows the best spot is a shaded spot. So if you're looking to spruce up your backyard and make it more comfortable, visit North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years. 813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
So who is Wes Neighbors?
He's going to put an ass whooping meter on next year.
Does Wes know?
1 or 2 or 3 cans of whoop ass.
We can all figure it out. Weekday afternoons, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talking Ball with Scott and Drew.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 827. On a Tuesday morning, welcome back to the show. 256-576-4977. That is how you can get a hold of us. If you got anything weighing on your mind on this Tuesday morning, and that is where we head to coming out of the break. Brandon's with us.
What's up, Brandon? Hope you had a good 4th.
Yeah, it was late and involved escaping the park here at Tampa Bay. Busch Gardens by some crazy people tearing down the parking bollards so we could get out of the parking lot.
Uh-oh.
For an hour and a half after the fireworks show ended about 10:30.
Oh, okay.
You just couldn't get out of the parking lot. Nobody moved.
Oh, wow.
These 2 guys got out. One of them was an Auburn fan, the other one a Miami fan. They tore the bollarded post out of the ground so everybody could escape the parking lot through the way that they did not want people to go. Fantastic. That was the first car
Interesting.
through.
Almost Joey Chestnut-esque, getting rid of the wacko.
That was amazing. He choked that guy and went right back to eating hot dogs.
Yeah, didn't even break stride.
If he would have not had that, he could have come close to his record. But still, though, I mean, it was almost a good football-esque move. It was like a football swipe move where he just swiped the guy, put him in the headlock, and then just kept going.
Because I looked at that, and then a little while later, I'm sitting on a bench waiting on my daughter on these little teacup things, and this lady in her best New Jersey voice says, "Who is Paige Sporanic, and why is she famous for eating hot dogs? Is she going against Joey Chestnut?" I didn't say anything. Just quietly pulled my phone out and started looking. Guy on the other side of the bench saw me, and I saw him, and we looked at each other, and we both recognized that we knew what she was talking about. So
yeah.
That was fantastic. It really was. Last week, Gene Smith made a comment.
Right.
And just backhanded the fire out of another school in their conference without ever saying a word. He said that USC and UCLA could come help Ohio State carry the conference.
Yeah.
I guess he forgot about the Corn and Maize that won their conference last year.
Well, that beat them like a yard dog and ran the football up their ass the whole game, but oh well.
That's the kind of pettiness that college football needs.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic.
I just want to know what Lincoln Riley thinks about all this, considering he gets to leave the lily white, soft Pac-12 and go to the Big Ten, where there is some physicality there and defense played.
And it's coming out that this whole move from UCLA USC was in the works for a year. Like, this wasn't something that came up with in the last 2 months or 3 months, that the Big Ten and those two schools have been working on this for about a year. So I'm wondering, when Lincoln Riley took the USC job,
did he know?
Did he know that, and did the athletic department tell him when he took this job
that they're going to the
that
Big
they
Ten?
were going to the Big Ten, and they knew this all along? If they did, that was the best kept secret ever.
My suspicions are he didn't know. I think they kept this whole thing, as far as only administrators probably knew what was going on until the last minute. And then you tell them, hey, oh, by the way, we're jumping conferences. So we'll see how Lincoln does. I mean, certainly he wanted no part of the SEC. We all know that. And the Big Ten's not the SEC, so he may not mind. We'll see. I'm fascinated to see how he does at SC. He ran the ball well at Oklahoma, but defensively they were never that good. And USC has been poor for a while now defensively. Can they get better? That's going to be a fascinating thing for me. I know Caleb Williams is going to be good. I mean, come on. I mean, Lincoln Riley, since he became a head coach, hasn't been poor at the quarterback position. And when Spencer Rattler struggled, the one thing I'll give Lincoln Riley credit, he ain't afraid to make a change, because he did with Spencer Rattler, even though Rattler was the quote-unquote #1 quarterback in America. And now we'll see how he does restarting his career for former Oklahoma assistant Shane Beamer. But again, he's never been afraid to make a change. He went after Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts did very well there. So we'll see how Lincoln does.
Over the last 20 years, I wonder what the percentage of preseason Heisman favorites versus Heisman winners is. I wonder if it's 10 to 20% at best.
Probably so. Usually the prohibitive favorite, Brandon, in the preseason doesn't win it. Okay?
No, not even close.
I mean, think about 2020. Nobody knew how good Mac Jones was, and he didn't win it, but he finished in the top 3. And then Devontae Smith, who wasn't considered at the time when he signed, even though he was a 5-star, don't misunderstand something, but Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, even Waddle when he came in the next year, they were all considered better pro prospects. And then you saw what Devontae Smith did. I mean, he basically ruined the career of a defensive back at LSU collegiately. Now, the young man was still a first-round draft choice. We'll see how he does. But Devontae Smith became a player that, was one of the best in SEC history and played 4 years. You don't see a lot of guys stay in 4 years, but a lot of people underestimated him his whole career. So going to be very interesting to see, how that does, and if somebody comes out of nowhere again to be a Heisman candidate.
A greater chance of Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and I was trying to think of the third name that we have been mentioning prominently as far as
Caleb Williams is one of them.
Caleb Williams. Okay, so a greater chance of those three winning the Heisman, or somebody, let's just say the rest of the field winning the Heisman this year.
Doesn't Vegas have Stroud winning it? Isn't that been
Stroud's one of the favorites? Yes, he's right now he is probably the favorite to win the Heisman up there. But when I say the
because
field,
nobody's repeated since Archie Griffin, so I don't think Bryce is going to be the favorite. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Bryce is going to get everything that Bryce does. If Bryce goes out and throws, his best game last year was what? Bryce Young's best game last year off the top of your head?
I couldn't tell you. I know he was really good in the first game against Miami and he played very well. He actually played, I know he threw an interception because, just worthless, ran a pathetic route in the back of the end zone against Texas A&M, but he played really well he threw for a lot of yards. What you could say his brightest moment was against Auburn. In that comeback. I know that the stats weren't great at times, but he had that drive. It's for an ESPY, Scott.
Yes.
That was kind of his moment when he brought them back to win in the overtimes.
All right, Brandon, thanks for the call, bud. We're going to continue this discussion here.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon.
And thanks for the phone call. So Bryce Young last year in the SEC
championship game,
in the let's see, I'm going
the SEC championship game against Georgia was a bright moment as well.
421 yards, 3 touchdowns. Okay,
yeah.
So every game that Bryce Young throws this year, it's going to be compared to what he did last year.
And a lot of it depends on the development of the supporting cast because it's going to be different.
Right, and so that's where Bryce Young is going to. Everyone's going to look at Bryce Young's numbers: 4,872 yards,
nearly 5,000,
47 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that Bryce Young does this year, every game, every throw, every game of yardage or whatever, is going to be compared to last year. If Bryce Young goes out and let's say throws for only, and I say only, 4,500 yards, that's a great season if he throws for 4,500 yards. But everyone's going to say, all the national pundits are going to say, Bryce Young had a disappointing season because last year he won the Heisman and threw for 4,800. This year, he only threw for 4,500. So his season's not as good. Therefore, he's not a Heisman winner.
Well, even before he got hurt against Mississippi State, remember the year after when Tua only lost the Heisman in 2018 because of the injury against Georgia. I think that's the only reason Kyler Murray won it. But even the next year, he was having a good year, but it probably wasn't as good a statistical year as the year before. And even if he had not gotten hurt late in the year and missed the rest of the season, against Mississippi State, he wasn't. I don't think he was going to win the Heisman. There wasn't a whole lot of, unless we never know what could have happened. Maybe he erupts against Auburn. Maybe he goes to the SEC championship game and then erupts because Alabama can still get there, and then he goes to the playoff and and eviscerate some people. But again, there wasn't the buzz there. I'll just say this, and I've said it repeatedly on this show. I would watch for Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's going to be a dark horse Heisman candidate, a guy that's going to touch the ball a lot at Alabama. And what I mean by this is 3 different ways, and it's kind of like what Devontae Smith did in his Heisman year in 20. He touched it as a receiver mostly, but as you remember, he touched it on reverses some. He also ended up, because of injury, taking over some punt return duties late. I think Jahmyr will be a kickoff returner, a receiver, a runner, and I think he's going to be explosive. And if he stays healthy, Scott, and that's the big thing, I think that Jahmyr Gibbs will have a chance to – it's tough because you're already going to have a Heisman candidate in your backfield in the reigning champion, Bryce Young. So you're kind of taking votes away from each other. But I still think Jahmyr Gibbs, because they always look, Scott, for the next one. The next guy, just like they're trying to anoint C.J. Stroud because of the sucks supposedly being great and, being a college football playoff contender. So, he's a guy that put up great numbers last year. And he had that Rose Bowl performance. So he's going to go in probably as the favorite.
I'm going back in my mind, and Jameis Winston is really one of the last guys that have won the Heisman and come back the next year. Johnny Manziel did it.
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel from Texas A&M won the Heisman, came back his next year. Jameis Winston in 2013 won the Heisman.
Came back.
Threw for 4,057 yards.
But threw a bunch of picks, though.
His next year, so he won the Heisman throwing just over 4,000
and winning the national title,
40 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Yeah.
The following year,
he threw like 20 interceptions.
3,900 yards, 3,907 yards, 25 touchdowns, 18 interceptions.
18. I knew it was a lot. It was almost 50-50. It was just barely. Even though the funny thing is they were undefeated though until going to the playoff when Oregon eviscerated them. But I just didn't think Winston played at nearly as high a level as you're talking about. And you shocked? I mean, he played for Dirtneck, who had no discipline and who let him do whatever the hell he wanted to do because he didn't have any control of that program because he's an idiot. So I mean, are you shocked by that? He's too busy telling lies. He can't. Every other word out of his mouth's a lie. So you can't believe anything the SOB says. Because, I mean, he said Nick Saban should be slapped for suggesting that they paid everybody. Then he's got a guy in his own organization telling these kids how much they're going to make. I mean, they're kind of struggling right now, so maybe the collective's running low. I don't know. I don't hear them mentioned as much. Of course, maybe these kids have finally seen through it that he's lying through his teeth and he's not telling them the truth. He wouldn't tell his own ex-wife the truth, wouldn't probably tell his current wife the truth, wouldn't tell anybody the truth. So, I mean, why in the hell would you play for an idiot like that?
Oh, boy. So, Heisman, we veered. Yeah. We got it in. We got
anytime you bring up somebody that played for Dirtneck,
we got it in
that's
there.
That's what's going to end up going off onto because I hate the guy.
Oh yes, we have established that as well. I mean, we ought to just. Well, this is July. We still have August, September, October, November, and December to go to give our Moron of the Year award. But I think it's safe to say that Jimbo Fisher at this point is leading the category for Moron of the Year of 2022.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And
I'm pretty sure he's leading that category. All right, so Bryce Young, that's the expectation. C.J. Stroud, I mean, you got to think too, if Will Anderson, I know he's a defensive player. If Will Anderson has a phenomenal year, great numbers,
he should definitely be a Heisman candidate.
He's going to get some votes.
Yeah, but the reason I'm just not bringing it up a lot is you see what happens. It's an offensive award, and it's even been mentioned on our show recently that it's basically a quarterback award because they put up the eye-popping stats. But like you said, Scott, the only way that a guy like Will, who I do think is a pound for pound the best player in America, he's going to have to show up in the biggest of the big games, strip sacks, maybe a pick six. It's going to have to – you remember when Charles Woodson did win it as arguably a defensive player, but what people forget is Michigan and Lloyd Carr, they used him offensively, situationally. He made big plays when they used him like that. Remember, he was a kick returner as well, punt returner, and he made big plays like that. Will Anderson would have to make game-changing plays. He's capable of doing it, but he's going to have to score some defensive touchdowns and really catch people's eye. He'll win. He will be the front runner for a lot of defensive awards going into the season. But to win a Heisman as the defensive player, you have to kind of do what Charles Woodson did and maximize opportunities. And but the only thing is, I just don't think Alabama will be using Will on the other side of the ball.
And my thought is, if Bryce has a average year or a great year, Will has a great year, C.J. Stroud can walk in there, have a decent year. You got two Alabama guys, votes would cost.
I'll just say this for any of them. For Bryce, for C.J., for these guys that, these quarterbacks, even Caleb Williams, you basically got one loss, bro. You're going to have one loss or less, and you're going to need to be in the playoff and be contending for a conference championship to win the Heisman. I'll just say this.
One loss or less.
I don't think Bryce was a lock for the Heisman until he brought them back against Auburn and then torched Georgia. And then once he did that, I think it was over. Because, again, remember, Alabama looked dead in the water. If they don't beat Auburn, they don't even go to the SEC championship game. And so, it would have been like, okay, and then they already had a loss to Texas A&M. Remember that. They would have ended up, not in the college football playoff because they would have had multiple losses. And then Georgia had a generational defense. That's what everybody said. They were unbeatable. And remember what a lot of the media said, and that's what I call them, the idiots. Going into that game, I even thought it was gonna. I didn't. You remember? I said on this show,
championship game.
I did not pick Alabama for like the second time ever, and the other time had been against Georgia, and they torched Georgia in 2015. I didn't pick Alabama to get shellacked. Now, I read a lot of the Stuart Mandells and everything saying that it was a name your score game for Georgia. They would beat Alabama as badly as they wanted to. Instead, it was the complete opposite. Alabama beat Georgia about as badly as they wanted to and would have done it again if it hadn't been for the injury report. But again, I'm just saying that's part of it. Georgia took full advantage and won the national championship. But Alabama wasn't given much of a shot going into that game. And I think when Bryce brought Alabama back against Auburn and had a moment, and then, as you said, I think 421 yards in that game against Georgia.
421 in the SEC.
Yeah,
so you
sealed it.
You combined those two games, the Iron Bowl and the SEC championship game. You're looking at 738 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. In 2 games.
Yeah, so he played exceptionally well. And so that cemented the Heisman because those were 2 huge games.
Yes.
It's the biggest rivalry in college football with Auburn on the road. And then you play Georgia, who'd been number 1 all year, really hadn't been tested. They didn't have a close game.
No, they didn't.
And then they got smoked. And so he won the Heisman. So it'll take performances like that. C.J. Stroud, he had no shot once Michigan just blew them out of the water. Remember, because they got embarrassed, and he didn't play that well in the game against Michigan.
Right.
So, but I will say this:
QBR rating in that SEC championship game for
Bryce
was 98.1.
There you go.
That's impressive. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get that final break in. Tomorrow's headlines, courtesy of University Kia, when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like they have cleared all the units off that wreck, old railroad bed in Oak Terrace. That one reported with an injury, but apparently it's going to be a no injury. 31 near Tanner, right around Calhoun College on the northbound side, had a motorcycle involved in a wreck. Minor injury from what I'm hearing. I-65 southbound 322-mile marker. That's in the Falkville area. Got an overturned tractor trailer with over 30 years experience. D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your Your shingles, we can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
You guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. Still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, people call the award-winning burgers totally insane, which is a compliment because Bad Daddy's Burgers are just that. Chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness built with premium Angus beef. They're bold and they're bad. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, 2317 Memorial Parkway. Check out our menu and even order online at baddaddysburgerbar.com.
The defending world champs are answering the call. The Braves' run for a title heats up this summer, and we'll bring it to you live.
High fly, deep to left, forget about it for Austin Riley. A blast to left.
Tonight, the huge National League matchup rolls on from Truist Park as Austin Riley and your Atlanta Braves square off against the St. Louis Cardinals. Braves radio's on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And let the college football expansion talks continue. Today could be I don't know if it's going to be a big day. Yeah. I don't expect any announcements to come today, but here's what you have. Mm-hmm. Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and Arizona State.
They're all flirting with the Big 12, right?
Today. They are meeting with the Big 12 today. There will be significant discussions, is what we have been told.
Yes.
According to reports, significant discussions between the Big 12 and the Pac-12 this week. It would include 4 Pac-12 members joining the Big 12, and that would be Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and Arizona State.
Well, I'm just telling you, Scott, the Pac-12 to me of all these leagues seems like the one that's the most in trouble. I mean, your boy Bill, he may need some therapy because I'm not sure the Pac-12 is going to be around in another couple of years. It looks like all those schools are going to scatter and end up. I mean, right now they got
Could
10.
you have a new version of the Pac-12 where you would
How?
have? Well, you would take your WAC schools like Grand Canyons and all them, and they would be Big 12 schools or Pac-12 schools.
Yeah, but you're not going to get a significant TV deal. It's going to fall off the planet. I mean, you're going to go from Power 5 to Group of 5 just like that. And I just think, and it's already been established that Oregon and Washington want to go to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They've already been trying to get to the Big Ten, but the Big Ten is waiting on Notre Dame. So it makes me wonder, where the rest of these Pac-12 schools would go. I mean, because you're out there on the Pacific coast, but where is your landing spot going to be?
Well, that would leave Washington State.
Yeah.
Which we have not seen. We've not heard a word.
Not a peep.
So Oregon and Washington want to go to
Oregon
Big Ten.
State.
Yeah, but you got Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, and Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4.
Yeah.
And so you got Utah, Colorado, Arizona. I don't know. And you got Stanford in there.
Stanford.
And what's the last one that I'm not thinking of? Because that's 11 of the 12. I'm forgetting one. Oh, Cal.
And Cal Berkeley.
Yeah. So those are your remaining schools.
Yeah. You just don't know where you're going to end up going. I mean, I've already made the statement that I thought the Pac-12 and the Big 12 may merge, but they're leaving some schools out of there. To me, the magic number is 24. I just would not be surprised if you see the SEC go to 24, if you see the Big 10 go to 24, and you see maybe the Big 12 and the Pac-12 merging and ended up with 24, and you end up with basically 3 super conferences and then the ACC. And so and we've talked about it. Nobody's left the ACC yet. We've talked about that. The media, the TV rights forfeiture that you would have to, where they've got you tied in through 2036. And right now the ACC's got 14 teams. But to me, it's signaling the end of the Pac-12. It looks. I mean, Larry Scott did a piss poor job leading that league, and they weren't able to strengthen themselves. And it looks like it's a free for all where all these schools are going to leave. And I mean, the thing is, you got some schools like Stanford, which is a prestigious academic institution. Cal, same deal, and they have a big rivalry. You would think these schools would want to stay relevant in a power, I'd say Power 3 conference where they would want to end up in a major, because again, but to me, I'm sorry, I don't think Stanford and Cal have enough panache by themselves, or either Oregon or Washington, to build the Pac-12 back. In other words, I don't think you can hold on to those teams and still stay relevant. I think if you're the Pac-12, whatever you've got left over, you need to be, trying to merge with the Big 12. They ought to be having discussions trying to merge as a super conference by, 2024, 2025. And then what that's going to do is it would spur the SEC and Greg Sankey to add teams. And then you start thinking about maybe some of these Big 12 schools. Remember, this was mentioned last week on the show that a couple of them, like Oklahoma State and Baylor, may bail on the Big 12 and go to the SEC, depending on what Greg Sankey tries to do, because you've already got OU. So you'd be getting Oklahoma State, which is Oklahoma's biggest rival, and then Baylor. Look what Scott Drew's done with that team, like that basketball program. So, and Dave Aranda's doing a great job with the football program.
All right, the other headline that we do need to get to, and it is just worth a mention. We want to just mention it. Scott Strickland announced on Twitter yesterday, or Scott Cochran did, 1 year sober.
Yeah.
Big accomplishment there. 1 year sober for Scott Cochran. He put that on social media yesterday. All right, that's going to do it for our 2 hours of fun. Just like that, our Tuesday show's over. I mean, it felt like we just started it.
Yeah,
it's done.
Atlanta Braves, they win 6-3, getting done at midnight.